Welcome back to Perspective, a design podcast covering topics within the world of design. I'm Angelos, and with me today we have...
I'm Josh.
I'm Lizzie.
Today we'll be talking a little bit about sport in design and how the two topics relate and cross over. So first of all, we're just going to talk a little bit about Josh's experience in sport as his placement year.
Yeah, so placement last year I was working for Sport and Media, which do social media content creation for sport teams, athletes and players and sponsorship.
Mm-hmm.
And my job basically was a junior graphic designer.
Okay.
So I was creating content to go onto Instagram, Twitter, and that would be advertising events or highlighting plays for cricket, hockey. We've done multiple different kind of sports, and that's what I was doing last year, really.
That's right. I mean, we can throw up a few images of sort of what you've been working on, I guess.
Just there.
Yeah, it's quite cool to see like the sort of, because I've had a look at them and I don't really know the process behind it. So, but it's quite an interesting sort of, because it's not necessarily product design, which is what we do. So
more graphics.
Yeah, it's a lot more graphic design, and that was, I think last year during COVID, I just wanted to try something new instead of product design. I was kind of getting a bit tired of it, in all honesty with that.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to learn Photoshop, and I think it was countless hours. It was countless hours of just like working.
Yeah.
But it was at the moment it's been fully worth it. And working for the Sporter last year really helped, not only for my development as a designer, but also I learnt marketing skills as well. But I've also been able to apply those Adobe CAD skills into my final year project as well.
That's really cool. It's also like graphic design specifically. Was that something that you wanted to do, or did it just fall into place and you just sort of went with it?
I've always looked at sport posters or videos, like the videography for like F1 or football. I've always looked in on that looks sick. I want to give that a go.
Yeah.
But I just never thought I could do it just because it looks complicated. Like you just look at the final thing and you're like, yeah, it's too complicated. I can't do it. But as soon as you start to kind of reverse engineer it and break it down step by step, and also just watching YouTube videos was big
YouTube
help.
Godsend, isn't it?
It's great. But if you just kind of break it down, you can eventually start building it back up by yourself, and then actually trial and erroring, if that's phrasing go for, kind of how you want to make your designs.
Definitely.
And how they will stand out and create your kind of personality within that.
Yeah. So do you think that will sort of now help you in your final project at university, because you're working on something to do with sports, right?
Yep. So I play hockey, and the project I'm doing for my final year is within disability hockey, which is the exact same sport. It's just for people who may struggle intellectually or with a physical disability.
Mm-hmm.
And the stick I'm creating, I've been able to use the skills from last year to create the graphics that will create the whole brand go on it. So it will go on the stick, hopefully. Mm-hmm. But also creating social media content that I would plan to post, or the video content as well.
Those skills you sort of learned on placement has been really helpful in
massively
sort of dictating the direction your project is taking.
Yeah, massively.
Do you think that's also the same for you, Lizzie? So
my placement wasn't anything to do with sports, but similar to you, when you were saying during lockdown, you sort of taught yourself sort of Photoshop. I taught myself Procreate, and this year I'm the marketing.
The iPad one.
Yeah, the iPad with the pen. Because I saw loads of things on like Instagram. I think everyone sort of was doing that during lockdown. And I'm the marketing and communication person for NG Athletics this year. So I had to design all the content that were going on the Instagram page and sort of promoting NG Athletics, like the leaflets that would go out, sort of trying to get members. So I thought I'd teach myself like a bit of Procreate and sort of do images of the athletics team currently, and sort of adapt with that. But it's nothing to do with really with my placement.
Yeah.
But for my project, for my major, I'm looking at keeping women safe when they run. So yeah, I'm trying to develop something that would hopefully keep women safe. It's not very graphical. It's not really anything I can use the skills.
Yeah, but have you used those
Procreate
skills which you learned from Procreate to like inform your design, or to like
I
use it to
reckon-
kind of communicate?
I reckon, to be fair, I do reckon like when I finally get an idea of what I'm going to do, then to like advertise it, probably would would do as well. Yeah.
Definitely helped.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about the project direction? So you say it's to keep people safe when they're running. So where did that stem from?
It really from personal experience. When I run, is there is, to be fair, there is so much out there currently, like keeping people safe, but like nothing that's really being used. So there's loads of reflective bands, there's loads of like lights that you can use, there's even like pouches you can use which you put on and you plug your camera in and like you can film yourself when you're but it's like you're filming what you're watching when you run. But I've spoken to some of the people from the athletics team and no one uses any of that stuff. Like they're all good designs.
Why don't they use it?
I don't know.
Good question.
I don't even use a lot of it myself as well. Because like I know things that you wear around your arm, you tend to lose blood in your hand because they're tight. A lot of the reflective bands are sort of those things, you whack.
I used to have one of those when I was a kid. One of those ones where you just whack.
Yeah,
on
you
your
whack
wrist.
on it
Yeah,
in your wrist, and then because it's
so
so tight, and then you lose your blood in your arm, and when you're running, you really don't want that at all. You don't want your hand to be like with no blood in it.
Yeah.
And if they're same on your legs as well, if you use it on your legs again when you're running, you really don't want your foot to have no blood in it either. So yeah, no one really uses them. And then like regarding things that you could like the lights you can clip on and stuff like that, it just irritates.
Yeah.
So if it's like the top of your running top here, it will just hit your head. If it's here, it'll be like whacking it. Like you don't want anything distracting you at all when you run, especially doing long runs. When I've been training for really long runs, you don't want anything at all to irritate.
What do you do? What distance?
So I do longer running. So I did the London Marathon in October. So I did loads of training for that. And then I'm doing the Manchester Half Marathon next Sunday. So I'm training for that.
That's not for me.
And long runs. And you don't want anything at all that would irritate you.
Yeah.
Kind of look at one of my designs I was looking at was maybe having something you could strap around your waist. But from experience, having something that strap around your waist can sometimes like rub on your stomach when you're doing like long runs. So it's not too pleasant. So I don't know if I could try. I'm trying to adapt something that is comfortable when you run, but also can keep women safe. Sort of the idea.
How long have you been doing running and?
So I joined the athletics team when I first came to uni. Okay. So for 4 years. Really, in the first year I didn't really properly run.
You never did it before? You never did it before?
A little bit when I was younger. I did London Youth Games for my county, but my county didn't really have anyone at all. So it's sort of like I was the best of the worst. They threw me into it, and I thought literally like there wasn't many people. But then when I joined uni, I really got into it because the community was really, really nice. Right. So then I was like, okay, let me try it a little bit more. And then now I really do enjoy it.
It was like an extracurricular thing. Yeah. But it's sort of, now we're in final year and it informed really, your final year project.
I always knew I wanted to do something to do with running, with design, because it was something so important to me, especially keeping you safe when you run. Like when I go with the athletics team, when we go running, it is quite scary in the dark, like not really having anything. We went for a run yesterday. And one of the girls had to get out her phone to so that we could actually see where we were going. So running along the canal.
You run as a group, yeah.
Yeah, we run as a group. And maybe something if she had like a reflective band and something like that, it would be something that would help. But no one really uses it. I don't know why. Yeah. What's not clicking with all these other designs that are out there, like reflective bands, lights. Like even there's like that you can get hats with lights that like shine bright.
Or like a miner.
Yeah,
he's got a hand down in the
literally
mines.
Like that where you run in it. But I suppose it's the hats that they've got at the moment are like woolly hats. Sorry, a bit like your hat now, which is great when it's sort of cold in the winter. But realistically, you get really hot when you run, and so then you'll just sort of sweat, and the hat will be too hot. And if you're running like doing really long distances, the sweat will like fill up on the hat, and then it's wet. I'm gonna be honest. It's not a fully great design.
Have you experienced that?
I have. I did try out one of the hats as my for my final year for the project. I did try out like the sort of lights that they have, and a lot of them aren't.
This wasn't good.
They don't really work as well as they sort of initially were meant to do. For other stuff like cycling, I know people wear them for cycling.
Usually that's like embedded into the actual like jersey. Sorry, cyclist, if that's wrong.
Yeah, or the helmet as well.
Yeah.
They wear like cameras or lights for the helmet. But yeah, for running, they're not really a great design at all.
I think it's cool how it's sort of like informing your process and like the products or the ideas you're coming up with. So you've had experience with products and you don't think they work so well, so you're trying to come up with alternatives.
Yeah.
Is that something also for you, Josh, that you've done for yours? So what are you working on specifically for your final project?
Specifically, it's basically it's a regular hockey stick, but it's got a spindle grip in the middle. So it's basically teaching the user how to play hockey, basically, in just layman's terms.
Yeah.
So basically, so the grip can kind of spin, but you can also remove it and change those grips for ones which is more tailored to the user, but it isn't specialized like for them.
Yeah,
basically.
And the graphic detailing you said you might want to put on the final hockey stick itself.
Yeah, so I still need to think about material finishes.
Yeah.
But I think the graphics will be going on to the stick, but maybe onto the grips as well. I just need to experiment with what will look good, basically, and just what the user wants. So it's constant like user testing to see what they want from this product.
Yeah,
basically,
really cool. Just whether it's sport in design or like another thing that you have going on outside of the design world, I guess as students, I think it does some way inform your process.
Oh yeah, absolutely does. Just
so like,
I've just been doing sport my whole life. I was like, I want to do something within sport. I always thought it was going to be like sports science, something like that. And then, but I always liked design. I just never thought it was a career that I could get into.
I mean, one thing we talked about before with Tomi was she did a business, like her own business as a placement. And now that she's like dead set, that's what she wants to do. So is it something you want to do as well going forward?
Yeah, I definitely think sport, the design within sport is definitely something.
I was going to ask, you know your sticks?
Yeah.
So the designs that go on the sticks, are they branded ones or are they, is it the brand that you pick, they will design something on?
So it'll be a brand that I create. And then they can either...
So is it sponsored? So people that use the sticks, it'd be someone that has sponsored the stick they use?
No, so this will be my brand that I make, and that's just what's going to be on there. It could be personalised. I haven't chosen yet.
Oh, okay.
But we'll see how it goes.
Because it's sort of like, I didn't really. I tried out skateboarding when I thought it would be cool.
When you thought it was cool.
It really wasn't for me at all. But you know, at the back of the skateboards, they have like different designs, and I always thought that was cool.
On the like, I can't remember what it's called. Trucks.
I'm not too sure.
I don't know. Sorry, guys.
But I do thought that was cool. So on hockey sticks, that is.
Yeah. There's the company I work with, which is WCP Hockey. We're very much a stripped back hockey stick, which is carbon fiber, and just the simple lettering on the stick. It's just simple. It's effective.
Yeah.
And it does what it needs to do. So I really like that company that I work for as well. But I'm trying to see if it's worth staying in line with their branding for this project, or trying to create my own brand for this.
Yeah,
I think create your own brand. I think
that's like the next step where you're at.
It would be cool. It would be cool if I did. But
especially you've learned all these skills now.
Yeah, you have so much that you could.
WCP, I'm coming for you.
One thing, do you know the sort of style that you've got with your graphic designs?
Yeah.
Was that something that was taught to you, or was that something that you developed when you were at...
Very much something that was developed, but it was also looking at like Pinterest, Instagram, looking at all the top people and seeing what they're doing, but not copying them exactly, but just taking elements from their work and finding fonts. A lot of my time was font searching.
Yeah.
Font searching was unbelievable, and I've got a list of about top 50 favourites, but that I think font can definitely inform your design massively. But obviously colour is another massive one, and then it's just trying to get the layout, which was the hard bit for me. Trying to get the layout right, so it's all very cohesive. But I hate to say this, it makes it pop.
Yeah. What do you think about like the wider sort of sports industry, I guess? Because this ties in massively towards, sort of even like stadium posters in and around a stadium. I'm not sure. Social media.
I would love to do that.
Yeah.
That would be unbelievable.
I can imagine all your designs up
like Wembley Stadium.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It reminds me of sort of like, like not top trumps, but like sports cards.
No,
Yeah.
match attacks.
Yeah, sort of
Yeah,
like
'cause
that.
I would love
in
to.
the
Oh, I
way
would
you
love
have
to. I
it.
would love to do that, like match
Yeah.
attacks, anything like that. I'm very much ice hockey fan, NHL, so that's what I watch. And ice hockey in America is massive,
Yeah,
whereas hockey over here is tiny,
yeah.
minuscule sport.
I can't
but so-
In Nottingham, no ice hockey. They have the
yeah,
Coast
Nottingham
Boy.
Panthers are down there,
Yeah.
but like obviously it's popular here, kind of. But if you go home and ask people to name ice hockey teams, or like,
You got me.
No,
exactly.
nothing.
But yeah, it's massive over there, and all the American designers on like Instagram, they all do NFL, NHL, basketball, all of that, and they do posters and they get hundreds of likes
Yeah,
just because it's their sport and they do. Whereas if I do field hockey here, it won't get as many likes. It's actually I've managed to get up to like 100 likes, which obviously isn't much. But
Is in, like, starting up in
for
the
me,
time.
starting up in that, I'm quite happy that I want to grow the sport. That's my whole kind of, I want to say ethos around it, is trying to grow field hockey.
yeah. So it's
Through graphic
currently
design.
quite small, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I don't
Yeah.
know anything about it. I'm not sure.
Oh,
I
it's
don't
it's
really
it's the
either.
third biggest sport in Holland.
Right.
So it's just trying to get British hockey up to that standard, and I think we can do that through design.
How does it rank in the UK?
I'm trying to think now. All right, I think it is within the top 10.
Yeah.
I just don't know how up the list is.
But that's cool, like what you just said about sort of bring awareness to it, or
Yeah.
People might become more interested in it through good design.
I think I do think you are, because I didn't know much about it, but seeing on your design account, seeing all the things, the posts you've done, and you sharing it, I know mutual friends who have seen that and be like, "Oh, that looks really cool. What Josh is doing." And
yeah,
it's
that's
making it
happened a
more
few
aware.
times where I've had like freelance opportunities from people who just look at my work, and
Yeah.
I've actually had a couple GB hockey players just message me. You're just like, oh yeah, please can you just do like a little bit of like work for me? I was like, yeah, sure.
Yes,
it was really
definitely.
good. It was a really good
Please.
feeling. But obviously they haven't got as high kind of status as like football
Yeah.
players who are really hard to access, whereas hockey players are quite easy to access.
Yeah.
Kind of like message them, which is which is really cool. But I think to grow as a sport, you need to kind of you need to start from the top basically, and just grow upwards from there.
That's good news for you in terms of like testing.
Yeah,
When it
definitely.
When it comes to that with your project, have you already made moves on that? Or?
Yeah, so I did a prototype. It snapped after about 10 minutes after playing.
That's part of the
with it.
process, isn't it?
No, exactly. We love the process. Trust the process.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I made that, but that snapped. So I'm gonna try and make a few more. And the coach there, who is Gareth Griffiths, he plays for Beeston first team and also GB. I want to say first team.
Yeah.
I want to say that. But yeah, he said he loves the design, and I also want to try and test it with other players like Reece Smith and other GB players you probably haven't heard of.
No, sorry.
Yeah.
But
Exactly, but that's the whole thing. If I want to try and do this so it will create
we know
that
their names.
awareness, and
We'll
then you know their
those
names,
Yeah.
and then grow the sport
Yeah.
step by step.
Is that the same for running then? So you can test it with your sort of like your peers and who you go running with?
Yeah, no, I have found it quite easy to do testing and focus groups
Yeah.
because I can get the athletics team together. Because it is looking at women's safety, but also men as well. There's a lot of the guides in the athletics team who are really into like helping as well. So it has been quite good to test because when we go on our social runs, which is quite late at night, well not late at night, it's at 6:30.
It's just dark at the moment,
but it's
isn't it?
dark.
Because it's winter.
And so
yeah.
they're all very happy to test out where I'm putting a light on them, seeing if it's actually works, if it's efficient or
Have you
not.
done that yet? Have you done
Yes,
lighting?
I did. I tried to put it on the foot, and actually it did work quite well putting a light on your foot. Because at the moment, the only sort of design with lighting on shoes is like an LED round the back of your shoe. I'm trying to point out my shoes. An LED round
on the like heel.
in
of
the
your
heel
shoe.
of the shoe. Which is more like so that cars can see you and other people can
Right.
sort of see that you're there if you're wearing all black.
But would that affect your running style? Like, is it heavy? Is it?
Well, yeah, probably. I haven't tried those actual ones out yet, but I'm guessing it will have a little bit of heaviness on
Right.
the heel of the shoe. But instead I was looking at putting a light sort of at the front of the shoe where your laces are. So I have this little tag that I wear on my running shoes that my friends gave me. And when I ran the marathon, it was sort of like, oh, good luck, Lizzie. And do not notice it on my shoe one bit. Like, it's just quite nice to look down and see it. So I'm seeing if maybe I could create a light. It'll obviously be a bit heavier on there that would shine out, so they could turn it on and off maybe when they're running. It's only initial design. I'm not too sure, but
I know that like running shoes already have, you know, like high vis bits on them.
some of them,
that's only if light's shining on it, isn't it?
Yeah, that's whereas if you're in the pitch black, there's not really anything shining on it. It's not very helpful at all. But yeah, I've been able to test all sorts with the athletics team.
Yeah.
Like weight wise, when they all run, if they feel comfortable or not comfortable with like different things when they wear and stuff like that. Yeah. So it's been really good actually. They've all been very happy to help because it's
community.
an important.
It is running community.
Because it's an important topic and very at the moment it's
very topical.
Very, very is. Which is sad that it is.
Yeah.
But hopefully it will change.
Make a difference.
Yeah,
difference.
A little bit, maybe a little bit of a difference in not starting in Nottingham, starting with the athletics team.
Yeah.
Hopefully something that maybe
that's
some
where it starts,
of the other guys.
That's where it starts.
Yeah. Only if I can help a few people, then that's all.
It's good that you're sort of playing to your strengths as well, because you're part of the team, so you can, like you say, go from there and build. So is it about bringing attention to the user when they're running with the light?
Yes and no. It was sort of, so when they're running, they feel safe, that they don't feel like that they're vulnerable at all, because having like really loads of lights and stuff like that can sometimes draw too much attention. It's on them whether they want to have a light on or if they want to turn it off, and it's whether they feel comfortable with that or not, because there is so much out there, just none of it. There's a lot of products I see as well. There's so many watches that you can have, and there's currently one coming out, and they're looking at heart rate. So it measures your heart rate when you run, and if you feel like your heart rate goes like really, really fast, then maybe you're being attacked and they'll call the police. But I personally don't think that's the best idea, because I personally have asthma, and if asthma attacks can be brought on very quickly, and that your heart rate will start going if you have an asthma attack, and then maybe your watch will see that and go, okay, let's call the police, and the police don't need to come and help me, I just need my inhaler. And if like a fox runs past your when you're running, like that can cause your heart rate to go. And so this watch that they're currently designing, it's obviously it's a good design, but I don't think it's the best for running. I don't think it's that reliable, because your heart rate can change, and also when you're running, like your heart rate's going to be bounding anyway.
It was Apple Watch. It wasn't quite running. It was cycling. But there was a story about a guy who was wearing the watch. He went out cycling, crashed, and was like knocked out unconscious. But the Apple Watch could detect that about the sudden crash, and like automatically phoned up like air ambulance service and said, he's here coordinates. Going like airlifted to hospital.
There's a lot of adverts recently as well around that thing where it's like, you know, they would have otherwise been killed, or if it wasn't
for Apple. Cheers, Stevie.
That's a great advertisement. Isn't it?
That was quite cool.
Yeah.
What technology is that? Is that looking at
I've got no idea about technology.
I'm researching now.
Yeah. Maybe like a sudden change in like velocity, or if you're driving or on a bike or something, and you suddenly come to a stop.
Depends on different
sports. It'll be like algorithm as well, probably. Maybe. Just say some big words and it might work.
Maybe that's what they're trying to work on with the watch that they were currently designing. But I didn't really think it was the best idea.
I still think it's an interesting approach, but like you say, it might get. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but it might get triggered for things that you don't want it to get triggered for.
Yeah, and then is that wasting?
And then it's trying to work out how you get it to trigger those bits which you want it to, and not those bits, for example, Fox or asthma.
Exactly. And a lot of things I was looking at is. It's really sad, but it's almost too late when that happens. Because maybe someone could come and help, and they know the exact location, and hopefully that gets stopped.
So it should be kind of like preemptive and just like
I quite like something that would sort of scream, look, I'm being tracked, like look, I'm being watched, like I'm not vulnerable, sort of thing. Which is it's sad that women have to do that, and men as well. But just statistically, it's more women, but that's what sort of looking at something that's a bit more look, I'm being tracked, like I'm being watched, sort of thing.
It's like a deterrent almost.
To stop that even happening, and they know, okay, look, I'm wearing this, anyone can see me, can see that I'm being watched, I'm being tracked, that maybe with a light as well. So then when they're running in the dark, it's sort of someone who maybe a predator can see, okay, no, not them.
Yeah.
And hopefully then it will stop.
Yeah.
Stop it.
It's hard to say, isn't it?
It's so,
But you
yeah.
we can only do so much, and you can only
that's
focus on a specific niche.
That's what I'm really struggling in, is that there's going to be faults in everything that I do. Like if someone wants to sort of hurt someone, they're going to find a way around it, and that's what it is quite sad and hard for me to do, because I'm like, I want to do so much, but there's only so much I can do.
There's only one thing I can say: TTP, trust the process.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll come up with something, and iterations, I'm sure will come afterwards.
I imagine it's me a lot.
Yeah, there is. But having the athletics team helping me has been quite good sort of thing, because there's such a range of views.
Yeah, I think it's interesting whether it's sport like it is for you guys, or whatever else it is you're interested in outside of uni, how it can just inform what you're doing, and you make decisions based on that, and you sort of play to your strengths.
Massively.
So anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
Nothing much else to say.
No?
Really. I've had a very good discussion about this, and just learning all the new stuff about learning stuff that I had no idea about, really.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, thanks for listening to this episode. Just a short conversation on sport and how it relates to design, but also a reminder that whatever you're focusing on outside of university, you can use it as part of your process. So thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.
Trust the process. Trust the process.